Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello YouTube, my name is Muhammad Uzair. You are watching YouTube channel Muhammad Uzair TV. In previous video, we learned about function, angle of inclination, trigonometric ratios. In this video, we are going to learn about piecewise function and domain and range. So piecewise function is defined by multiple subfunctions. Piecewise function is defined by multiple subfunctions each subfunction applied to a certain interval. Each subfunction apply to a certain interval of main functions functions domain or subdomain. So piecewise function is defined by multiple subfunctions, each subfunction applied to a certain interval of main functions, domain or subdomain. Let's suppose we have, for example, 3x when x is greater than 1, 2x squared minus 4 when x is less than or equal to 1. So as you can see that this is a function defined by multiple subfunctions, these are two. So multiple functions, each subfunction applied to a certain interval of main function domain. So each function is defined certain interval of main function. So for x greater than 0, the function will be 3x. For x less than or equal to 1, the function will be 2x squared minus 4. Let's suppose we have f of x is equal to absolute of x, which will be equal to piecewise function. F of x will be equal to x when x is greater than or equal to 0. F of x will be equal to minus x when x is less than 0. So we can graph piecewise functions by graphing each piece individually for a given domain. So let's suppose these are the values of x and these are the values of f of x. So when we put x is equal to minus 2, we will get 2. When we put minus 1, we will get 1. For 0, we will get 0. For 1, we will get 1. And for 2, we will get 2. So for x is equal to minus 2, this is x-axis. So x is equal to minus 2, we will get 2. So for x is equal to minus 1, we will get 1. So x is equal to minus 1, we will get 1. So this point. for x is equal to 0 we will get 0, so this point. For x is equal to 1 we will get 1, so this point. For x is equal to 2, y is equal to 2, so this point. So we can this will be the graph of x absolute. So this will be the graph of x absolute. To understand piecewise function more, let's do some more examples. Let's suppose we have g of x is equal to 0 when x is less than equal to minus 1. G of x is equal to 1 minus the root 1 minus x square on the root when x is greater than x minus 1, greater than minus 1 and less than 1, and g of x is equal to x when x is greater than equal to 1. Let's try to solve each function separately. So g of x is equal to 0, g of x is equal to the root 1 minus x square, and g of x is equal to x. So this will be x is less than equal to minus 1, minus 1 less than x less than 1, and x greater than equal to 1. So this will be the first function g of x. So we can write as, because g of x is equal to 0 for every value of x, the g of x will be 0, so this will be up to minus 1. So the second function is the equation of circle. So this is only positive side, so this will be a unit circle. So this will be a unit circle. The third is g of x is equal to x, but x is greater or equal to 1. So starting from this point, so this will be the graph. So by combining these three functions, we can write as, this is first function, g of x is equal to 0. This is second function, g of x is equal to under root 1 minus x square, and this is third function, as minus 1 and 1 is not included, so there will be a hole at this point for this circle, and also a hole at this point at this circle, but this hole is filled by this line because for this function minus 1 is included, as x is less than equal to minus 1. So there will, at this point there will be no hole, at this point there will be no hole, but at this point there will be a hole. The circle will be not included, so at x is equal to 1 there will be a hole. To understand domain and range, as we already discussed, for each value of x there will be a unique output y, so that will be the function. So let's suppose we have we have x and a function, there will be output. So if we put value of x in a function, there will be output f of x. Let's suppose we have x plus 1 divided by x. Let's suppose this is a function. Let me write it again. Let f of x is equal to x plus 1 divided by x. So let's put x is equal to 3 in this equation. For this function, the output will be 3 plus 1 divided by 3, which is 4 divided by 3. Let's put x is equal to 2. So by putting x is equal to 2, we will get 2 plus 1 divided by 2, which is equal to 3 divided by 2. So which is 3 divided by 2. Let's put x is equal to 0. We will get 0 plus 1 divided by 0. 1 divided by 0. So in this case, this is undefined. This is undefined. So here we can define domain. So here come domain. So domain is a set of all inputs over which the function has defined output. So domain, we can define domain now. Domain is a set of all inputs, set of all inputs over which the function has defined output. The function has defined outputs. As we can see that when we put x is equal to 0, so the output is undefined, so this will be not included in the domain of this function x plus 1 divided by x. So 0 is not included in the domain of this function. So we can say that domain will be equal to x belong to real numbers such that x cannot be equal to 0. So so we can define domain as the values of x. So domain can be defined as values of x. Now what is range? Range is a set of all possible outputs. For example, let's suppose we have, this is domain, and same example, this is x, this is f, and this is f of x. This will be the range. If I take value from domain, we will get the output which is range. So set of all possible outputs. So range is set of all possible outputs. And domain is set of all input over which a function is defined. So in this video we learn about domain and range and piecewise function. If you like the video, consider it for subscribing and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching.